Cone and Weirman back at it for another battle. The first clamp comes from Cone. He flips it back to himself, and he gets the win. 10 wins for each side in the face-off battle. Cone holds it himself. He's got a pull on his left hip. Rode him all the way to GLE and runs off the field. Muley controls for Syracuse, attacking the right cage.
That's another great thing about Mason Cone is he's 210 pounds. He can fend off a long pull and really get it into the Syracuse offensive end without potentially turning it over.
A shot from deep, a bouncer too far left. Luke Roa looking for his third goal of the day, couldn't find it. Ball bounced out of bounds in the far corner. Spallina, the closest player, backed it up for the Orange, and SU keeps it. Stevens, straight away, about 20 yards out, gave off left. Burt Whistle whips, that one hits the post. Owen Hiltz backing it up in the near corner, goes out of bounds. Syracuse keeps it. Some hustle plays by Hiltz and Spallina to keep the ball in Orange possession. Roa fires and finds the top left 90. Luke Roa with the hat trick. Syracuse with a 1-goal lead. It's 9-8, 2 minutes into the fourth quarter.
I mean, Owen Hiltz and Jackson Burtwhistle are known as shooters, but Luke Roa just fired that one to the top left corner. That was one of the most impressive shots I've seen all season from Syracuse.
Just the second half trick of his career. His first was in the last game of 2023 in an 18-15 loss to Duke. This one he's hoping isn't a loss for Syracuse. Cone and Weirman trying to break a stalemate on the Block S logo, each with 10 wins for their teams today. Whistle blows, they both clamp down. Weirman flips it back to himself and pushes up. The Terrapins moving with pace. Chorus gives off left to his teammate Murphy. It's returned to the restraining line. Weirman stayed on the field for a little bit there, but instead gives off to his teammate Urksa, who shoots well, fading away, and ties it right back up. Urksa with his second goal in a 1-minute span, and it's all tied up again, 9-9, 2.5 into the fourth quarter.
How about Braden Urksa? Now 4 goals on the day. He had 4 coming in through the first 2 games, just putting on an absolute clinic at attack for Maryland. Really, against Syracuse's best cover guy, Riley Figueres.
Not too surprising out of the sophomore, led the Terps with 48 points last year, just the 3rd freshman in program history to do that. Weirman now with the advantage over Cone on faceoffs. They do battle again. Whistle blows. Another false start, but this one goes against Cone. It's Maryland ball. Now with the chance to reclaim the lead. Tied 9-9, 2.5 minutes into the fourth quarter.
We've talked about faceoffs a lot today. It was even entering the fourth quarter. Now Weirman winning 2 of 3 to start the frame.
Maltz moves down the right alley. Got a screen from his teammate Murphy, but gives back to X. Molliver comes around the crease near side, pushed back by Kakemo, and Kakemo is hurt. He is moving on one leg and falls to the ground. Syracuse is down a defender here, and the refs blow the whistle before Maryland can take advantage of it. Nick Kakemo making his first start of the year. Didn't make contact with anyone. His knee just locked up. He was hobbling on one foot. And the player he started in front of, Caden Cole, steps onto the field as a substitution. You gotta hope that's not as bad as it looked, Jordan.
Yeah, Kakemo hopped off the field. He did start every game but one last year, the one game being Princeton, so he has experience on the defensive side, and now got another experienced guy in Cole on the field replacing him.
Whittier gives it off to Brennan near side. Now back to GLE, and there's a steal for Syracuse. Figueres pushed the ball and the stick out of Brennan's hands. The Orange working on the fast break left to right. Tied up 9-9, looking for the lead. Owen Hiltz not slowing down, moving right to left, thought about a deep shot at the restraining line, and finally takes a deep breath.
It's a great decision there by Owen Hiltz. You don't want to move too fast. You're tied at 9. You just had a very good play on defense by Riley Figueres. You got to make sure to take advantage of this momentum. This crowd is just waiting to pop right now.
The first line midfield back out for Syracuse. Thompson, Leo, and English. Far side goal line extended. Spallina passes up to Thompson, shoots, misses just high, backed up by Muley. Syracuse keeps possession. Muley at X. Swings to Leo, near side. Goal line extended. Starts working towards the crease. Spins again, bounces it in to the back of the net. Michael Leo did it himself, and it's back on top for the Orange. 10-9, SU leads 4 minutes into the final quarter. Thank you so much, Hudson. Like you said, alongside Austin Barrick, I'm Tyler Aitken, and it is a defensive battle. 4-2, Syracuse leads Duke. The second half about to begin. The first half was abnormal for both teams. We'll get into the stats in a moment. Syracuse beginning this half working left to right, Duke right to left. Mason Cone out there for the Syracuse face-off. They've been switching between Cone and Mullen, and that's because Syracuse is 0 for 8 on face-offs. Jake Naso for the Blue Devils has been perfect today.
At this point, kind of have to think Alexo and Stevens will have to work in from the wings. You're going to have to hope that Cone can make it doable for those wings to get involved.
The whistle blows. They both clamp down. Naso swings it into his defensive half, but there was a false start, and it was on Duke. It came from a violation. It might not have been pretty, but Syracuse has its first face-off win of the day to kick off the second half. Syracuse dishing around on offense. Thompson moving down the right alley, out there with the first line midfield. Swings to Muley behind Cage. His heels near the end line, playing far from the crease. Fakes near, goes far side. Now curls back around the crease. He's getting yanked as he does it. And the referees blow the whistle, say he stepped on the crease, and it wasn't because of a defensive penalty. That's a turnover. Duke has the ball across his midfield, now past the restraining line.
That's crazy. Muley got airborne from the defender, Jack Gray. Pretty much just bodied, ragdolled, and I mean, just tough look from Muley.
Duke working on offense. Johnston down the right lane, gives off to O'Neal behind Cage. Curls around the crease, far side. Gives up to the far corner. Sloat, straight away, doesn't have an angle, passes to Johnston. Johnston trying to back down his defender, gets absolutely nowhere, returns to Zawada behind Cage. Moves around the crease, far side, stops at the goal line, gives off to O'Neal. Moves around the crease, near side, faces goal, passes, it's deflected by the goalie, Will Mark, who stuck his stick out, causes the turnover. It's Syracuse ball. The Orange worked left to right. They held Duke to just 2 goals in the first half. That was the best first half defensive performance by Syracuse since 2016. Best defensive performance in 8 years. Now Syracuse on offense. Jake Stevens down the right alley. Pass to Hiltz. Finds the upper right corner. Good defense turns into better offense. And Syracuse goes on top 5-2, 2 minutes into the second half.
What a legacy game for Will Mark to start that with his anticipation, and then Stevens with the opportunistic cut to the attacking box. Found his guy, Owen Hiltz. And Tyler, didn't that look like all of Hiltz's goals from the second half last week against Delaware, right from that same spot?
It did. He's been hot lately. 4 straight games with multiple goals. His longest streak of multi-goal games of his career. And helped Syracuse go up 3 goals, 5-2. Little over 13 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's Mason Cone out there again for Syracuse after winning the last one, albeit because of a false start. But this one he clamps down, picks up himself, and that's the first clean one of the day. 2 straight wins for Syracuse on faceoffs. Cone, not stopped, shoots and scores himself. He goes from not winning a faceoff all day to winning 2 in a row and then burying his own goal. It's 6-2, the Orange on top, still just 2 minutes into the second half.
It's the first time in 4 or 5 games that Mason Cone has scored He did this a lot early on in the year. Boy, Mason Cone, what a baller, what a gamer. I mean, it's so funny. We were there for Hopkins a couple weeks ago. The third quarter, Syracuse came out guns a-blazing, and so far, they're doing exactly that. You can feel the energy shift.
Cone, a Fogo, face-off, get-off, up to 5 goals, 6 assists on the season, has more points than some Syracuse midfielders that actually get playing time. He's off the field for a rest.